Hey everybody, this is Bradley Benner. I'm just looking at a notification that it says Hangouts are on air or going away later this year. So hi. Anyways, that just threw me off. I just saw the new notification saying that. Anyways, it's Bradley Benner with Semantic Mastery. I've got Adam on with me, and we've got Jeremy from Press Advantage on today. We're not gonna do any like crazy introductions and stuff. You guys know here at Semantic Mastery we've been preaching about Press Advantage, and we use it heavily, and it's just a really great service. It's my go-to press release service, as well as a few others that I use, but hands down, Press Advantage is an integral part of my business. So there doesn't need to be a lot of introduction here. So first, let me just say hi to Adam. Adam, how you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that this got it started smoothly. As I like to say, I'm here for moral support, and looking forward to this too. I know that there's been a lot of work going on in the background with Press Advantage, and we've had a lot of people requesting this, so I'm looking forward to this. And if I can't see the whole thing right now, I'll end up checking out the replay, but this is, I know, some really good stuff we're going to cover today.
Yeah, and so then I want to say hi to Jeremy. Jeremy, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I don't think you had your camera on the last time, so
yeah, I don't know. I may or may not have.
So, like I said, guys, I didn't want to spend a lot of time. Jeremy wants to kind of condense this one a bit, which I don't blame him. We're not here to beat you over the head with stuff, but we want to give you guys the updates and several things since we did the first webinar with Jeremy for Press Advantage, which was, I think, way back in like October of last year.
Yeah, tail end of September, I think.
Tail end of September. There you go. So it's been even longer. A lot of updates have been implemented, and more are still coming. And so that's really what this is about, is just to kind of educate everybody about what the new features are and some really, really powerful stuff that we, help with SEO and getting more visibility and all of that kind of stuff. So with that, Jeremy, I'll be in the background for moral support. I'll comment when needed, but I'm going to turn it over to you, man.
Sounds good. Let me figure out how to share my screen here.
Should be that screen share button on the left-hand side.
I'm looking here. Chat, screen share. There we go. I want that one. All right. Is that showing up?
Yes, sir. I'll lock it.
Excellent.
There you go.
Okay, so before we get started today, just a couple of housekeeping things. First, I really love a participating audience, so I'll ask questions. Feel free to answer them in chat. Ask your own questions in chat, and I'll do my best to answer them along the way. I'm also going to keep an eye on who's engaged and participating, and once in a while, I'll pick someone out, do a little giveaway, that type of thing.
Let me jump in real quick. Do you have the link to the watch page so you can see the chat?
Did you send it to me?
No, I didn't.
Not. Sorry about that. Let me do that right now, just to.
So, Adam, you're going to shoot it to him in Skype or something?
Yeah, I just did, and we can keep track for him. If you want to keep an eye on it, just so he doesn't have to do both.
Perfect. Yeah, so I'll do a quick intro, talk about who the presentation is for, that type of thing. I'll give you a little bit about my background so you actually have confidence that I know what I'm talking about. Then we'll get to the good stuff. We'll talk about what's working today with press releases, tactics, linking strategies, and so on for a couple of different verticals. If you were on the last webinar we did, some of this will not be new to you because I wanted to make sure that everybody who's new gets that same information. But don't fret, there's new stuff in there too. I wanted to touch on some of the top mistakes I see people making with their press release strategy, and also why I think some of the latest Google updates are making press releases a huge part of your strategy, even more so than they already were. And then we'll have some time for Q&A and whatnot. And then I'll introduce you to Press Advantage, what it actually is. It's our done-for-you press release service. We'll talk about what we've done since the last time we talked, and I'll touch briefly on the roadmap and what we're working on today. And of course, after that, there's a special discounted offer. Don't jump on the first offer. Bradley begged me to bring back that special offer that I swore I wasn't going to run again, but it's an offer that's really only for people who are serious about having a big successful business. But be sure to stick around to the very end. It's going to be worth your time. After I tell you about the offer, I've got the whole day blocked off. I'll stay as long as I need to answer all of your questions. Does that sound fair? I can't see the chat yet, so I'm just going to assume that does sound good.
It does, in fact, sound good.
Let me just click on this link that he sent me real quick. And perfect. Yep. All right. Now I can see the chat. Okay. So through the presentation, I've got screenshots of results There's a couple of them that are left over from the last one because I didn't want to, it wasn't super important to have fresh results for that. But I did refresh all of these results. I'm not cherry picking. I'm not going back 3 years to rankings that we got back then. This is stuff I literally took screenshots of last night when I was finalizing the presentation, and in some cases even this morning. So I just went through recent releases, did some keyword searches. I also went through and took some of the result screenshots from last year and did those same keyword searches, and you can see that those results are sticking. So this isn't flash in the pan type of stuff. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started. Let's see if I can get this to work. All right, there we go. So I'd love to know kind of who you are. Just tell me in the chat if you're an agency, consultant, if you kind of do work on your own products and your own websites, lead gen, that type of thing. If you could just kind of throw that into the chat, I'd love to see that. But Press Advantage really works for any type of client, whether it's brick and mortar, online services, offline services, physical products, info products, Amazon, Shopify, eBay, you name it. Really any type of product you can promote effectively with press releases. Now, the secret, of course, as you all know, to getting and keeping those high dollar clients that we all want is to deliver top results consistently and reliably. It's really simple. When you deliver those results, your clients make more money, and when your clients make more money, they keep paying you, which is what we all want. When you delight those customers with results beyond their wildest dreams, then they refer you to their buddies and give you glowing testimonials, sing your praises at the local chamber of commerce, and all that type of stuff, getting you even more clients that you can rinse, wash, and repeat on. Now, SEO is a complicated topic. There's a lot of moving parts. Your clients don't care how hard it is. They just want the results. They don't want any results. They want results that affect the bottom line today, tomorrow, and next year. They don't want those results that are there for 10 minutes and then they're gone. They want to be there day in and day out. They want to see new stuff popping up. They want to see those leads flowing in. Now, I alluded earlier to why I think press releases got a lot more important. And that's because Google released a pretty major change to their algorithm in the last month or two. It really makes that solid press release strategy far more important than it was before. And it was critical before, and now it's even more important. What happened is they made it a lot harder to rank multiple pages from one website on a given search results page. So where you used to be able to get 4, 5, 6, slots in that results page, now you're lucky if you're going to get 2 or maybe even 3. But if you've got a solid press release strategy, you can really win here because you're sending out hundreds of news stories to credible news outlets every month. You're going to be able to rank multiple press releases for those individual search terms. And I can show you examples of that later on, where you have one search term, and not only are you getting good results from the page that you're trying to get rankings for, but then as you go down the search results page, you're going to see press release after press release after press release because they rank. And that builds that credibility in the eye of the consumer that's looking at the search results. So instead of just a couple pages, you're now also ranking multiple press releases and videos for those search terms. It works great with the PR stacking strategies that you've learned about in the Semantic Mastery training programs, but I'm not going to go into that in super detail now. That's a local PR pro thing. But anyways, here's just a couple of these result pages. Again, these are all fresh. The 2 on the right is a multiple location employment agency. They are rock solid in the top, which is exactly where they were last year at the same time. On the left-hand side, you can see just a couple of other new guys. These are folks that haven't been using our services for quite as long, but they're still getting great results. They're, landing in that 3-pack. They're ranking their own websites. They're doing well. They're happy. And I know I just said that a lot of these sites are not going to rank multiple, pages, but if you look at this picture, you can see that, sure enough, it's still possible. And again, these are all from last night, except for the far right one, which I pulled this morning. So you can see that with press releases, you're going to get the sites ranked, you're going to get your sidebar, you're going to get videos ranked, you're going to get press releases ranked. And all of that means you're taking over that search results page for your customer or for your own, platforms. And then, like I said, we want results that stick around and they stay for a long time. So you can see on the left-hand side, this is one of the search results pages from last time. And then if we look on the right-hand side, this is what it was this morning. Now, the nice thing I like about these guys is they're an FBA seller, and the only external link building they do is using press releases from Press Advantage. They don't do any other Google optimization whatsoever. And as you can see on the right-hand side, as they've gone through this for another year now, they're ranking videos, they're ranking multiple pages on their homepage, and then you can't see it, but if you keep scrolling down, they have product after product, and they have press release after press release on those search pages. Here's a couple of other results that are showing what it was last year and what it is today. So on the left-hand side, you can see that the mailbox store in Highland, Illinois is still fighting with FedEx, and FedEx kind of beat them for the first couple spots, but they're still ranking pretty well. They've got 3 in the search results, and they've got the sidebar still. So they're doing fairly well. Same thing on the right-hand side, this award shop in Norfolk. They have the sidebar still. They're still ranking well for their other terms, and they are at the top of the search results. So these results, you get them, you stick. And the way you do that is by having a good, consistent press release strategy. Now, for most clients, they don't even know where to start getting rankings and results like that, which is why they came to you in the first place. And you know that getting solid results for your clients is hard work. And I'm talking about real results, those lasting results that I just showed you, the ones that leave your clients begging for more, paying you every month like clockwork. You're a smart and savvy marketer, and you already know that it takes an investment of time and money and things that really move the needle for you and your clients, like the training that you've gotten from Bradley and the rest of the crew over at Semantic Mastery. And I'd be pretty surprised if you didn't already understand the concept of working smarter and not harder. I'm always looking for an edge over the competition, that edge that lets me deliver results that not only get me a great price, but a premium price, that edge that provides results that absolutely blow the competition out of the water. And the best solutions are the ones that work day in, day out on autopilot. Those are the solutions that you're after too. So I want those shortcuts that are legitimate, they deliver results, and I can turn into a ranking machine. Now, before we go on, I want to talk about my background just for a few minutes. As you can tell, I'm not a polished salesman or a public speaker. I'm not going to try and wow you with pictures of me with rented Lamborghinis or any of that fake wealth stuff that the gurus love to flash around. I'm a down-to-earth guy. My wife and I and my kids live on a farm in a small county in Washington State. Got a bunch of kids, got more animals than I know what to do with, and that is my driveway in the picture. I've been in the tech industry for over 25 years. I was on the internet before it was even called the internet. I once used the 150 baud acoustic coupler, if that makes any sense to you at all. I've been a high-powered tech exec for most of my career and have worked for massive companies running huge teams and budgets, delivering results along the way. I lived through the dot-com boom and bust. And the one thing I've learned throughout my career is that relationships and taking care of people and not looking at them as a paycheck is critical to success. Big companies just don't care about you or me. So I walked away from it all to focus on bringing my skills and expertise to the internet marketing field. And taking care of people like you wasn't optional. It was, and still is, a core component to my personal philosophy. I moved out of the city, away from the rat race, into a place where I can focus on what matters, my family, and helping people reach their goals. And if you remember those solutions I talked about earlier, the ones that let you get those consistent, reliable results day in and day out, now I spend my time building tools that deliver those solutions to savvy marketers like you. Now, I know a bunch of numbers doesn't look like much, and we'll talk about these in a minute. But back in 2008, when I started taking my internet marketing work seriously, I did everything right, the right way, and I did it by hand. I built links, wrote guest posts, did content marketing, everything that you're supposed to do. It took forever, especially since I was doing it in my so-called spare time when I wasn't working for the man at Microsoft. I was getting good results, but at the cost of a lot of time. It didn't take long to realize there had to be a better way. So I started writing code, automating as much as I could. Long story short, I quit Microsoft, met Bobby, my business partner, and we sold access to an automatic SEO link building tool. Not just any tool, but one that fundamentally changed the SEO game for us and our customers alike. Honestly, we were going to keep it secret for good, but we knew that we had to share it with our friends and then our friends of our friends. And so we ended up building an SEO co-op for us and a couple of these friends. We all benefited from this exclusive co-op with volume discounts, access to our automation tool, and so on and so forth. But we decided that we weren't going to keep the co-op closed to new members. Pretty soon we were helping SEO consultants and agencies around the world. Frankly, Bobby and I did really well with this link building secret weapon, really well. And our customers were consistently owning their markets thanks to those results that were delivered. The tool built solid links that carried real weight. There was automation to build link wheels, PBNs, multi-tiered pyramid link structures, all that type of stuff, literally on autopilot. All we did was feed the machine keywords and some basic settings, and it went to work day in and day out. It was the perfect system. In 2013, our techniques were still working great for people who were experienced SEOs with good, solid strategy, but they weren't working quite so well for folks that were just copying the basic stuff that every newbie on Warrior Forum was pitching. Google was finishing up their Panda and Penguin iterations, and a lot of old standby tactics weren't delivering the results they used to. So we realized it was time to pivot. We knew how to build quality software tools that took the heavy lifting and tedium out of getting solid rankings in the search result pages. And so that's what we did. We took a long, hard look at what was still working and built a new tool. We found there was a huge correlation in a certain class of backlink, not a small correlation. Google really loves backlinks from news domains. Press releases were like a cheat code for consistent and reliable rankings. But that wasn't the only thing we found. Just getting some PR links wasn't enough. The real key was consistency. When Google finds a consistent supply of these PR backlinks to a site, they give it far more weight than just one-time releases. So the trick just isn't just to use a press release or two. It's all about consistency and repetition. We'll talk a little bit more about what happened next, but since we're talking about what Google loves, let's talk about what's working today and not what was working in 2013. So this is dangerous for the competition, not for you. We'll talk about what's working today, some of the results that you've already seen, and some of the tips and tricks. I'm also going to talk about what mistakes I see people making with their PR strategy. And as a reminder, all of these results are from recent releases. We're not cherry picking top results from the last couple of years. We literally just spent an hour or so last night pulling these screenshots. So content marketing is still king. It's the best way to get good, solid, lasting results. The websites will rank best when they have solid on-site SEO work, including great content, proper siloing, and good internal linking structures. We've actually built Press Advantage to give you a content silo for each client, and I'll go over that in a minute, how that works. None of this is news to you, but some of these strategies work on thin content. But most of the time, if you've got great content, those results are better by a factor of 10. No big surprise that keeping a good flow of content works, and press releases serve to amplify that content. So they take the results that you might already get from good, solid content, and they just blow it through the roof. So we'll talk about linking strategy in a little bit. Now, I know Bradley has harped on this over and over again, so I don't want to, do a deep dive into purging, but most press release sites purge press releases within weeks or months. We don't do that. We've picked our distribution networks with that in mind. Namely, they don't do it very often. Most of them don't do it at all. A few of them do, but we continue to work with them to extend that purge time so that they'll stay longer and longer. Now, one of the unfortunate side effects of being in this business is that sites do come and go from networks. So, these pickups will go away sometimes. The news media is a volatile business. There's a lot of, poaching of PR networks, and it's just part of doing business. But we've picked our network with longevity in mind. We want them to be sticking around. We want them to be consistently providing services to us, and we don't want them to delete your press release from the internet because, frankly, there's no reason to do it. It's a database entry somewhere. Now, we do provide two very reliable places to base your press release stacks and your secondary link building on. The first one is those custom newsrooms that you get on a per client basis, and then, of course, on a per release page, both of which have been designed with conversion in mind. And let's see an example of that here. So this is the media room. The media room is the foundation of your content silo in the Press Advantage universe, so to speak. Every organization, client, business, brand, whatever, gets a custom media room. It includes links to the press releases that you've issued. It adds an additional NAP citation that is always there. We have a full map embed. You can kind of see at the bottom left there, and I'm going to show you this page live in a minute so we can kind of go over some of the components in detail. You can't see the link to social media there, but it's there. We'll talk about that in a minute. You get an RSS feed for this media room, so you can use that for reposting things. And I think Bradley had something he wanted to share there.
Yeah, well, the RSS feed, you guys know, can be really powerful for syndication networks, number one, but also if you're doing this for local businesses, if you have a auto poster account or some sort of post scheduler, it doesn't have to be the one that we typically use, but any one of those now will generally accept an RSS feed as an input so that it will automatically post to your Google My Business profile as well. So it's very strong. I've got a few clients that are, or lead gen assets that actually don't have self-hosted websites. And so I still build syndication networks for those brands or those locations, but we just use the Press Advantage RSS feed to actually feed the GMB posts now. So it's just an additional, because we're doing a content marketing with Press Advantage anyways. So why not add some additional posts into the Google My Business that don't have to be scheduled manually by just connecting the feed. So it works really, really well. I would encourage you guys to use it for both your syndication networks as well as for your GMB locations.
Great. So the other thing that you can't see here, and again, we'll see this live in just a second, is that these media rooms have an iframe embed available. So you can embed your website down at the bottom as an iframe. We call it a website preview, so it kind of looks professional and nice and all that stuff. But we all know how, for example, Marco just loves his iframes, and this is, yet one more excuse to get an iframe embed in. Now, a press release page has a very similar look and feel. Again, it's a very professional, well-designed page. It's designed to be attractive to the eye and good for conversion. We don't, put ads or anything like that on here. Again, it's another NAP citation. You get another map embed. It has a social media embed. And just like with the media rooms there, we don't purge that ever. It stays live on our site forever. We don't get rid of it, period. Now, if you want us to, we are happy to do it, but there's no reason for us to get rid of it unless you ask for it. Now, between the press release pages and the media rooms, that's exactly what you want for the foundation of a good PR stack. It doesn't go away, and you also get a lot of inherent trust from living on our domain anyways. And frankly, we see these pages ranking on Google all the time. Now, I want to switch my screen share here and show a live version of this so that I can kind of show some of those other features here. Let me just bear with me, please. All right. So this is the live version of that same one that I literally took the screenshot today. The agency that runs this is doing almost everything right. And he's a Semantic Mastery member, oddly enough. So if he's on the call, well done. As I mentioned, you've got a bunch of press release links here that shows all of the recent press releases that you've run. I think we capped that at 25 now so that it doesn't get terribly long. You have the logo, you've got an about block, you've got the NAP citation with a link back to the business site. You have the map embed here. Here's the social media embed that I mentioned. You can see it just keeps going on. And then down at the bottom, that's where we have the iframe embed. We also offer an iframeable version of this that strips out all of the branding. So if you have your own iframe farms, you can easily embed this page on there and get that extra boost. And if we look here at a press release page, again, live, it looks very similar. So you have the same content on the sidebar. The big difference down below here is we have some cross-linking inside of that content silo for, in this case, the Maggie Flanagan Studio. You have cross-links that show, I think 9 of the most recent press releases. What that does is that just helps distribute that extra link equity evenly throughout all of your press releases, and it makes sure that everything gets indexed correctly. And once again, we have the iframe embed down below, and same as with the media room, we have a branding free version of this that you can embed into other sites. Now, since I'm sharing my browser out, I'm just going to kind of skip ahead and show you what this press release looks like on one of our pickups here. You can see it's fairly attractive. Yes, it has all of the kind of ad branding and stuff that these news pages have, but it contains the content of the press release, and little sneak peek, it also has the map embeds that we promised you last year. If we look at one of our other press releases out here, again, this is on a local ABC affiliate. You can see that it's a clean look, and we actually are starting to see a lot of people reading these, like humans, actually interacting with press releases, which is a great thing for us to see. Let me switch back to the presentation. All right, any questions so far? I'm going to move on, but if you have any questions, please throw them into the chat.
No questions yet.
So link building is not dead, still not dead, and it wasn't dead from 2 years ago, it wasn't dead 5 years ago, and it's not going to be dead next year either. Google would love for you to think that large-scale link building is dead, but nothing could be further from the truth. You just have to be intelligent about how you do it. Those basic pyramid and stack style linking structures still get results as long as you use them in a smart way. And again, these tactics are very familiar. You build high quality parasite pages with blogs, press releases, one-page sites. You include your citations. I really love blogs and press releases because in those articles and releases, you can deep link to that main site over and over again. And sending out a press release about every blog post or article that you post on that site is a no-brainer. Now, building good solid links to those parasites is important. You don't want to get too spammy. Some of these parasites can handle medium quality links, and we build links ourselves to release pickups as a great example. And then you can throw bulk links at tier 2 links and just beef up that extra equity, make sure that everything gets indexed, that type of thing. On a local marketing front, it's all about the PR stack. The PR stack that Bradley is teaching is a game changer, and I see distinct differences in the results that people get when they use a good PR stack versus when they don't. One of the common complaints that I get is I don't know what to send out a press release about. Sending out a press release about reviews that you get as part of that business is a great strategy because you're always getting new reviews and they're always newsworthy. And we see some huge results for people that are sending out lots of press releases using good reviews and other notable items or notable events to write about.
Yeah, and on top of that, one of the things that, guys, I'm sure most of you are aware of this, especially for local businesses, but when a Google user determines that they have selected a few businesses that they're going to call to possibly schedule an estimate or to purchase a product or a service or whatever the case may be, a lot of users, like 60% or more, will often search for that company name reviews. And so if you're doing press releases to highlight reviews or to showcase reviews, that will end up helping the press releases to rank, as well as some of the review sites that you're linking to within the press releases. It really helps to do that. Not only that, but you'll also start to see, if especially if it's a newer business, but you'll start to see in the Google auto suggest when somebody starts to type in the company name that it will auto suggest that name plus reviews anyway. So it kind of leads people into clicking that suggested search query. And then it shows all of the news on the front page that has been published about that company. So it's a really good strategy.
Yeah, and really, you want to use any excuse to send out a press release. I know that 2 is kind of the bare minimum that we like to see, but ideally, you want to see 3 a month per client. And I see results like gangbusters for people that are using 6 or more per client. Every single press release you send out, I know the slide says it's 200 citations. It's actually closer to 350 now because we've added a kind of a larger network with some international footprint as well. But as long as you're using good keyword research, targeting long tail keywords, doing deep linking into your site, you're going to see those results. As far as what you link to in a press release, nothing's changed. You link to content on the site, you link to Google Maps, and you link to part of your PR stack. If it's the first PR in the stack, add another link to GMB, add a social link, something along those lines. And make sure you're using one of the pressadvantage.com links for your PR stack, because it doesn't ever go away. If it goes away, that means that we went away, and that's, then we all have bigger issues. I typically like to link to a release instead of the organization newsroom, because that release already is pushing at the organization newsroom. But you could do it either way, and we do see folks doing it both ways. Again, go ahead.
I actually switch it up. We regularly switch between linking to a previous PR and the organization page. But as Jeremy said, that's very, very powerful to constantly. And that's, I don't want to get too far ahead of you, Jeremy, but that's one of the upcoming features, right? Is automatic PR stacking.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
But yeah, obviously, guys, I mean, we've talked about this in Hump Day Hangout settings too, but what he said is absolutely correct. To link to a previous PR or the organization room, but also linking to your various, not just the money side all the time, but your various tier one profiles, that really helps to kind of validate and solidify the entity, as Marco always says.
I have nothing to add to that. But, and again, you see the local PR Pro, local GMB Pro, and what is it, the RYS Academy or something like that for the for more detailed tactics. Yep. Frankly, the stuff that you learn from Bradley and the other guys, it works, and it works great. As far as general content ranking goes, PR stacks work great here. Just like using content silos, they just work. The citations are obviously less important. You get them for free, and so even if you're not actively targeting local rankings with that keyword campaign, your business clients are still going to get benefits from that. So it's great for using content marketing. Deep content marketing, pointing at blog content and things like that for your local business clients. Again, silos work really great here. You pick a main keyword and then use a bunch of long tails for your linking strategy for your subsequent releases. Again, as is always the case, having a consistent release strategy is important. It doesn't always have to be the same stack, but you should always be sending releases out regularly for each client. Again, we'd like to send out releases for every article that you post, every blog post that you post, and then stack on top of that with cross links to other posts and things like that. Again, linking strategy, very similar. Use your keyword strategy and pick a content link for the first link, and then a social link, and then either a cross link with content or an authority link of some sort. For e-commerce, again, they're just like before. The same strategies are working. You can either go product-oriented or content-oriented. I am a huge fan of content-oriented, but we'll talk about product here for a second. It's all focused on the product. The release content is focused on features and that type of thing. You're going to use 3 links. You're going to link to the product page on your website, the product page on Amazon or eBay or your Shopify storefront or something like that, and then a social link. This is great for product launches. You use 3 press releases per launch, gets that initial sales push going. The problem is that sales and exposure is a little spiky. You have to keep moving with the press releases because you're really targeting that one product. I really like content a lot better because it's a longer term strategy. It gets better results. I'm all about doing the right thing, even if it takes a little bit longer, so that those results stick. It definitely takes more work. You have to have a website, you need to have content, but now you're able to build up better brand awareness, you're able to build up a customer list, you just keep PRs rolling. Different topics, different products, you're cross-promoting between products in a given press release. Again, 3 links being a content link on your website, a place they can buy a relevant product, a social link usually. This is great for building that customer list. It's great for doing product launches, ongoing product marketing, and getting those rankings. Now, I know this is an old, I didn't go back and rehash this results page. We did see the results for one of these keywords earlier, and I showed you that it stuck. But these guys are doing that content style marketing, and they're doing great. And they're just owning their keywords using this. And it took a little while, but they get Amazon ranks, they get their homepage ranks, they get their video ranking, and they get press releases ranking. Again, this is just from using our stuff. This is not, they don't use any external backlinking at all. Now, on a social front, this is another way where you're going to use your RSS feed for every client. You want real engagement from real people for both press releases and your business pages. And so what you're going to do is you're going to use Buffer or some similar product to automatically take the RSS feed for your client and post press releases to every one of your social channels. And then you're going to repost them 5-6 times over the next 6 weeks or so. You're going to do that because all of these social platforms limit your reach for every post. And by reposting the same release over and over again, eventually a huge chunk of your followers are going to see them. Still not all of them, but you'll get a lot more of that engagement than you otherwise would. It's important to change up the headline and the little summary or the image for every repost. Typically, what you'll do is you'll have the RSS feed automatically post stuff, and then you have a VA once a week go in and queue stuff up to be reposted with that changed headline and excerpt. Now, the fun part, the mistakes I see people make. We've watched tens of thousands of press releases go out the door, and I am constantly amazed at what mistakes people are making, and even if we've given them the tools to avoid them, and I don't want you to make those mistakes. And so here are some of the top mistakes that I see way too often. Grab a drink there. The first mistake I see is people writing their own press releases. I see it time and time again by both new and experienced marketers. And frankly, what we charge for releases is pennies compared to what you get out of it. Because if you have to write your own content, you're inevitably going to start getting shorter and shorter releases. You're going to spend more and more time, and you don't get all of the benefits of having a professional writer like ours developing the content. We're always careful about having the long form content. We're careful to make sure that the press releases are using a fairly consistent style and method and voice that we have found that Google really loves. We really train our writers really hard. And then we don't do a lot of editing or reviewing of your content. If you make a type 1 error and forget your links or something like that, we won't catch it. We don't check that. We go over every release that we write with a fine-tooth comb. But if you're writing your own releases, we assume that you know what you're doing, and we assume that whatever you sent us is what you intended to send out. And that has resulted in some far too many releases going out without links, or with the wrong links, or with 300-word short articles, that type of thing. So we really recommend that you take advantage of the fact that we include the writing and everything. And the money that you'll spend on it, if you're adding writing to existing releases or anything like that, is pennies compared to the benefits you get.
Yeah, and it also speeds up the approval process, and it's like the releases are 600 plus words, which is about 50% more than most other press releases that you can purchase. I mean, even if you hire a PR writer from Upwork, guys, they're typically going to charge you, for anyone that's worth a crap, they're going to charge you $60, $75 or even more for a well-written press release that's only 500 to 600 words max. And so that's why using the writers within the Press Advantage platform is just, in my opinion, hands down the best way to go, because you know that it's going to get accepted, and the content is well written, and it's longer form content, and it's all of those things together just make it worth it.
And you don't have to spend your time on it either. That's and correct. The older I get, the more valuable I realize that time is. And so when I can, drop a few bucks and have somebody write a press release versus trying to do it myself, that's a no-brainer for me.
A long time ago, a mentor told me, the less I do, the more I make.
It's true. I think that's very, very true. Anyways, the next mistake that I see a lot is a haphazard type of linking strategy. Usually it's people going right after giant competitive keywords. They don't build up to it with a mid to long tail keyword strategy. If I can't look at a set of 5 or 6 press releases and understand what your angle is, it's probably a little disjointed. So, a lot of folks are not really thinking through their linking strategy, and they're not getting the optimal results. Obviously, you're still going to get some good value out of just the links that are being built and the citations that are going out. But if you really spend some time and think through your keyword strategy, you're really going to get some much better results. I can absolutely see a huge difference in the people that are obviously following a specific strategy versus the folks that are just kind of doing it randomly. Again, the third mistake, I kind of touched on this a minute ago. I don't understand why I ever see this, because I really shouldn't, because people write their own press releases and they forget to add in the links. Might be great content, but you're not getting anywhere near the type of results you would want if you don't include links. And that's another reason why we focus on providing that top quality writing service, so that you don't have to think about it. You just give us the URL, you give us the keyword, and it's done. You don't have to go in, you don't have to check the link, make sure you didn't typo the link, make sure that you actually hot link the link. I have seen releases go out where they put the URL in the content, but they don't turn it into a hot link using the tool, and it goes out without a link. And it's unfortunate, and if I see it, I will let them know, but we don't see all of it. And like I said, when something goes out, we assume that you have reviewed it and are intending to send it out the way it's given. The next mistake is another one of those self-written release problems. And again, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. A lot of the problems that we see have to do with self-written content that is maybe not quite up to par. Writers get lazy, they reuse content. We've seen folks submitting the same release with a few names changed 20, 30 times, and it gets you nowhere. It might even get you penalized because it shows up as duplicate content. That's why we never use templates, we never use boilerplate, and we always have that long form press release. Then the fifth mistake, and we see this frequently, is people don't use up enough press releases. They don't issue enough press releases in a month per client. It's easy to run a couple press releases and forget about that client, or spread the releases out too far. Sometimes you have a certain number of releases a month, and you're trying to split them between too many clients instead of just bumping up in your plan size, or if you've taken advantage of the special offer in the past, then simply just ordering more press releases. We still say that 2 a month is the bare minimum per client in any kind of medium competition environment. 3 is a better starting point, and if you're in a competitive space or area, we love to see 6 or more per month. And like we've talked about a few times in this call already, I'm building a feature that makes scheduling the right number of press releases for a client much easier. Then the final big mistake that we see, and this is actually one of the leading causes of people that stop using press releases, is I don't know what to send out a press release about. And it's kind of a paralysis by analysis type of situation. Folks think that everything has to be completely newsworthy. Everything's got to be able to show up on the front of the New York Times. The reality is you can send it out about anything. Something like a new review, like I talked about before, those are huge, and people just ignore sending them out. You should send out a press release about every single review you get. It's another excuse to send out a press release, and you should always be looking for those excuses. Something happens in your business, you get you get a new client, you hit a milestone. I saw one press release last night while I was looking through these rankings about someone who had hit the 300 review mark on their GMB listing, and they sent out a press release about it. It's a great excuse. All you're looking for is excuses. And if you can't think of a reason, just order the press release and ask us to come up with something for you, and we'll do it. And that's the beauty of having us do all of this writing and all the research and everything that's already included, is you don't have to think about it. All you want is that press release. And if you don't have a reason, then ask us to make one up, and we'll come up with something. Now, the great secret is that press releases were working in 2013. They were working last year, the last time we talked, and they're working today, and the tactics are almost identical. So back in 2013, after Penguin and Panda went on their rampage, we looked at the ranking landscape and realized that no matter what Google was doing with their algorithms, that solid press release strategy was still working. And like we saw, it still works today. So I decided that our next tool was going to be all about press releases. First, I took a look at the competition, got to see what they're doing. And I was surprised. There's a lot of shady and deceptive stuff going on in that market. And those of you who were on the last call, you already know this. Those of you that are new, you're going to be surprised. Those big PR companies, they're flat out lying to you. So I knew we could do it better. We could bring our dedication to excellence and treating customers as partners and not just a number to this market as well. And I knew we would be able to blow them out of the water quality-wise and deliver results that those other guys just couldn't. Now, what gaps did I see in the market? Now, the first thing I saw was that most of the competition was inflating their distribution network with fake news sites. They're building private blog networks. They'd name them and style them to look like news outlets and call them press pickups. Or they take spammy and ad-filled content farms and call them niche-specific press sites. And then that way they can advertise up to thousands of press pickups on their marketing collateral. The problem with that is obvious. Google doesn't care about them, and they know they're fake news. They flat out refuse to give those pickups the same weight. And, charitably speaking, I find that flat out dishonest, and Bobby and I always stand by our word. So our first commitment to myself, to my business, and our customers was really simple. It's no fake news sites, real news outlets, real websites. I'm not going to pass off fake sites as real newspapers, radio stations, and television franchises. I have literally seen people out there that register a domain that sounds like a newspaper that doesn't exist, and they call it a press release pickup. I can't get on board with that.
Yeah, and those links can actually become toxic. So
asking questions in chat, I see them. We will pause in a few minutes to go over those. So stand by. I will not forget. Anyways, the next thing I noticed was some of the crazy prices that folks were charging. Over $400 for a single press release that you had to write yourself. It was limited to 400 words, which is half of what Google really wants to see. So call it $1 a word for distribution. Writing, well, you had to go and hire a writer for you. Frankly, that's highway robbery, plain and simple. So my next promise was real simple. No highway robbery, fair pricing, affordable pricing. You need to have a good margin so you can make some money when you resell our press releases to your client, period. Now, like I said, the thing that jumped out at me was nobody was doing the writing for you. I don't mind writing, and Bobby's one of the best copywriters I know, but I didn't really want to spend my time writing. I could spend it on higher leverage activities. And like Bradley just said, the less he works, the more money he makes, and this is a perfect example. But we didn't want to use cheap offshore writers. You can use those writers for your SEO articles that you're going to throw on a PBN somewhere, but they really don't cut it if you're writing a real news story. And everything had to be a real, original, completely unique, no spinning, no copy and paste, no templates, no boilerplate. So my third promise, obvious. Simple access to high quality US-based native English-speaking writers that write news stories every single day, day in and day out. Not only that, but we had to have high quality editors, college educated US-based editors, and I can't charge through the nose for it. It has to be reasonably priced, and the editorial help had to be part of the package as well. Now, Bradley was just throwing some numbers out. The other day I had priced out some press release writing services, and the best price I found for the quality and the word count that we provide was $91.86. It's pretty obvious why I wanted to provide writing services that didn't cost an arm and a leg. Now, the other problem that I found is even if you had writers or wanted to do the writing yourself, there's always research and preparation work. You have to do keyword research, topic background, you have to find all the collateral you need, like quotes and reviews and all of that type of thing. It's one thing if you do it for yourself, for your own business, but if you have dozens of clients clamoring for the traffic, authority, and rankings that come with a good press release, that all takes up a lot of time. So we had to solve that as well. We took our secret keyword spy tool from customer link building product, something you couldn't get anywhere else, and we've spent years on it. And so that gives you the edge to find those extra keyword targets that make all the difference for a client. And then we trained our writers to do background and subject research, so you don't have to. I want you to give them a few keywords or even just a URL and be able to get a high quality press release without having to lift a finger. And so that's exactly what they do. Now, we talked about purging a little bit earlier, and I like to call those mainstream PR companies, they use the equivalent of self-igniting paper to send out these releases, because they go out and then they're gone. You send out a release, and in a few weeks, it's nowhere to be found on the internet. And I hope you didn't build any extra backlinks to that press release that's now gone. There's just no way that was okay. So like I said before, I focused on distribution agreements that had lasting value and didn't go anywhere. These networks stick, and they stick. So sure enough, 5 years later, and here's 2 examples. These are the same examples you saw last time, and they're there today. 5 years later, you can see our very first press release is still out on the internet. Not just on our newsroom where we never purge anything, but also out on those regular pickup sites. Perfect for tier 2, tier 3 backlinking and the other stacking techniques that we've talked about today. Now, we talked about these numbers earlier. We still have our hands-free link building service that was getting rankings for folks on autopilot all day long. While we were actively selling access to this SEO secret weapon, we built 7,290,198,762 backlinks to 2,388,700 different keywords, almost 5 million links a day and over 200,000 links an hour. And it was a utter no-brainer for us to bring that power to bear on Press Advantage. It was a literal game changer for our customers and clients, and it was something nobody but us can offer, because nobody but us has that sort of automated link building power. Picture having an AI sitting there, never sleeping, never resting, doing nothing but building more backlinks to your press release pickups, giving them that much more authority, relevance, and brand exposure, and you don't have to do a thing. And well, that's on the list too.
Hey, let me jump in just for a minute, just let you know I'm experiencing a pretty bad storm here, so if I drop out, I'll rejoin you as soon as I can, Jeremy.
All
right.
So Bobby and I specialize in one thing: powerful automated tools that help businesses get real results with minimal effort. So when we built this system, it had to be hands-free. You have better things to do than babysit yet another tool. So we do all the research. You can hand us a URL, ask us to write a press release, and off we go. We do all of the writing. No more expensive writing, because we handle it for you. Everything is custom written just for you. We never reuse content. We never use Mad Libs, fill in the blank style releases, and we most certainly don't use spun content. I like to tell people you can put in the same order twice, exactly the same, and you will get 2 different press releases out of it, because we never reuse content. We do all the editing, no college degree required, no grammar manual. Our expert editorial staff makes sure everything is perfect. We do the submission. You don't have to manage the process of getting your press release out there, handling rejections from networks, dealing with news outlets. We handle all of that for you. We do all of the syndication. You don't have to get your press release posted on hundreds of news pages. You don't have to lift a finger. We get everything syndicated to news outlet after news outlet for you. We do all of the reporting. You don't have to sit on Google searching for pickups. We give you dynamic reports that keep track of all of the release pickups that we're allowed to report. When we get new pickups reported, we add them to your report immediately. And we do all the backlinking. We use our secret SEO link building tool to build tier 2 and tier 3 backlinks to release pickups, boosting their relevance even further. Everything is hands-free, set and forget for you. Now, some people advertise done-for-you services that require you to constantly be checking in to make sure things are running smoothly, to verify that you're getting what you pay for. But that's not us. When we say everything is done for you, we're not kidding. I'm going to tell you a little story about one of my customers to illustrate what I mean. I'm going to call him Jason. Jason's one of our customers for our SEO link building tool. When we announced Press Advantage, he was one of our first customers to sign up. Jason's in a pretty cutthroat marketing, and reputation management is key, and that's his focus for using Press Advantage. He logs in once a year at the beginning of the year, queues up 3 press releases a month for the year, and gives us these simple instructions. Quote, here's my website. I want you to write something nice about me and link back with whatever keywords you feel are reasonable. My goal is reputation management. I don't need to review the finished press release, just get it out there. Takes him about a half an hour, and then he's off to the next year. So what happens? Every month, like clockwork, our system queues up the next 3 press releases. We research and write them, distribute them, and email him reports. He gets those results he's after with practically no time investment at all. Needless to say, Jason is still one of our customers, and why wouldn't he be? Small investment, huge results, no time commitment. Like I said, I'm not kidding when I say fully done for you. And by the way, that feature we keep kind of teasing, when our scheduled release feature goes live next month, Jason will not ever have to log into the platform again unless he needs to change his billing information or something. The reputation management campaigns become completely hands-off. So what does this mean for your clients? You'll get effortless rankings for anything your clients wants ranked. Articles, yep. Videos, of course. News stories, obviously. Your clients will not only dominate the organic results for those valuable local keywords, but they'll own the map pack as well. All that results in real revenue to the client, which means your clients come back for more and more. You'll get their brand pages in Facebook and their other social platforms ranking. You'll deliver better engagement with real customers. Those reviews that those customers looking for, you'll get those ranked too because you're setting up press releases about them. And it won't take you a whole lot of effort. What's the biggest problem? Well, we've been told on more than one occasion that agencies like you have had to pause campaigns for certain clients because they had too much business and they couldn't fulfill it all. And could they please just slow down a little bit? That seems like a good problem to have. Now, don't take my word for it. Corey Sanchez is a pretty popular marketer. He knows a lot about local marketing, and he's been a longtime supporter of Press Advantage. I'm not going to read it, but and then Dory is again also a long-term SEO whiz and does a lot of SEO work and has used our press release service for great results. I don't want to just kind of dive into a bunch of testimonials because that's not really who I am. I think you've heard a lot from from Bradley and the crew, and that frankly speaks more than anything I could say or any picture I could put up on the slide deck. But as you can see, there's a lot of people using our service. Now, you have a couple of options. You can learn how to do the whole process from research to writing to editing to distribution to syndication to backlinking and keep up with all of the changes. You could do it all yourself. You could hire someone to do it and manage them to make sure it's being done correctly. Or you could use no press releases and you could miss out on delivering the results for clients and watch them fly to the competition who does use press releases correctly. So let's look at the costs for doing all of it yourself for one release. First, your research and writing runs you at minimum $91 plus research time. Pretty soon you're looking at a couple $100, and you have to keep enough volume flowing so that your writer doesn't go find a job anywhere else. Then you need an editor to proofread it, and it costs you about $50. Then you have to submit it through a major PR service like PR Newswire, PR Web, someone like that. It's another $400 minimum, and that's only for 400 words. Now, then you have to constantly build backlinks to the syndicated release pickups and call it $100, not to mention a ton of time managing those backlink campaigns. And all of this takes hours of time out of your day, time that you could be using for far more productive tasks. So the bottom line is doing your own releases without our system could cost you up to $800 per release or even more, not to mention the time, hassles, and headaches. Now, this is just an overview. We'll hit some of these features in detail in a minute, but we have world-class press releases written by talented US-based professional writers. We have distribution to hundreds of prestigious news outlets, local TV stations, local radio stations, newspapers, Yahoo, Digital Journal, and more. We have Google News pickups guaranteed every time. Apple News picks up all of our stuff. And we also get picked up by all of the search assistants like Siri and Alexa and Cortana, Google Assistant, and all the little ones. We have perfect local citations every time. Every single time you send out a release, you get hundreds of new citations from high-quality websites that the search engines love. You get access to that reverse research keyword spy tool that we've been working on for almost 10 years now. It's so powerful that we only let a few people have access to it. You get our secret sauce, powerful SEO promotion that helps rank releases in Google. No one else can provide this because no one else has an SEO automation tool like ours, and we don't sell access to it anymore. Retargeting and pixel embed capabilities. You can keep advertising to prospects even if they don't buy right away. You get full map, video, and image embed supports. I don't really need to go into why that helps, because we all know. And then of course you have, caring US-based account reps who bend over backwards to personally help you win customers in your niche. And one thing that I didn't put on the slide that I do want to point out is that I look at every single ticket that comes in. Me as the owner, I spend that time and I make sure that everybody's happy. I don't personally respond to everything, but if you send on a ticket on the weekend, chances are you're going to hear from me, because my account reps don't work on the weekends, but I do, and I see it. And if it's something I can help you with quickly, I'm going to. I don't want you to have to wait till Monday to get your answers. And then, of course, we have training and education. We have videos, we have PDF content, and I'm getting ready to roll out a new feature that will help with this, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Now, one of the cornerstones of Press Advantage is our writing and editing staff. They're wizards at what they do. They take custom writing instructions from you and they craft the perfect release. Never form content, never templates, no spinning. Everything's custom written for every single order, every single time, with no exception. We're not talking those short 300 to 400 word releases. They start at 650 to 750 words, period. The conventional wisdom is that press releases should be short, but that's old news and doesn't really reflect what the reality of today is. The reality is that 400 words is just not enough. We know Google loves content with meat on the bones, and 400 words just doesn't cut it. On the flip side, if you put out a 2,000 word press release, Google might like it, but it's really, really long. So that's why we've hit that sweet spot of 650 to 750 words, and they rank quickly. There's a lot of content in there for Google to index and parse. And since we're really good at our work, those releases start ranking for long tail keywords that weren't even on your radar. And you just can't get that kind of a result with a 350 word press release. It just doesn't happen. Now, you can absolutely find better distribution out there. I'm not going to lie to you, you can, but you'll pay through the nose for it. You can go out and get distribution from the same guys that the big Fortune 500 uses. And if that's what you want to do and you can afford the $2,900-ish price tag per release, go for it. But I pride ourselves on having the best distribution in our class. We don't pad our numbers with subpar pickups. We use real sites, no PBNs or content farms, newspapers, local affiliates, radio stations, and more. And even there's a small town newspaper down the road for me that carries our press releases. We're completely results oriented. I could pitch you on 1,000 pickups where 80% of them are subpar PBNs, but I won't do that. If sites don't perform, we do call them out of the network. Now, again, I don't have to tell you how important a signal, a GMB map embed is for local rankings, and Google loves video embeds and treats them as a huge ranking signal in and of itself. So, the last time we spoke, we were working on getting map and video done, and the big hang up there was we work with so many different networks that we needed to get enough of them on board that we could say, yes, we actually offer this. And finally, that's happened, and enough of our networks are on board that we support image, video, and map embeds for all of our press releases. I touched on Google News placement. It's, of course, a very important signal, and realize it or not, people do look at the news tab for certain topics. Every single release is guaranteed to show up in Google News. Those releases tend to get top rankings and get rankings quick. Sometimes the speed at which we deliver those results really surprises us. We're talking hours, and they show up in the top slots. But the news placement isn't limited to just Google News. Your press release shows up in Apple News, like I said, as well as in all of those voice assistants. So, just kind of an anecdote. About a week after we added the voice assistant, I got a call from one of my long-term customers. His wife has a very niche business, and she was getting a bunch of phone calls from Las Vegas. And as it turns out, as soon as we turned on the voice assistants, she was getting 50 to 70, depending on the day, daily reads, essentially, of her press releases from people that were looking for exactly what she's selling. And her sales went through the roof, and he wanted to know what happened, and I didn't know. And so we looked, and sure enough, that's where all of that traffic was coming from. So we haven't figured out yet what the trick to ranking well is, and there's really no way to tell what you're ranking with those voice assistant searches. But it's something that we're seeing some good consistent results from. And again, this is for real people. This isn't just for search engine consumption. Now, the value of the local citations, and you know how important it is to have the consistent citation out there, and you're not going to get great results unless you have great citations. There's a lot of tools out there for citations, but frankly, you can't really beat the power of hundreds of citations that are all identically perfectly crafted going out to news outlets all over the country. Google loves citations from news outlets, and the results speak for themselves. Every single release we send out hits the wire with those citations, the same NAP every time on autopilot. Now, I touched on the research tool. It's a tool you can't get anywhere else. We've been working on it for almost 10 years, and it's only available from Press Advantage. And if you happen to have an account with our link building tool, you have access to it there. And typically, you're going to pay extra for access to this. The tool does hours worth of research in seconds. You feed it a list of URLs, and it comes back with a massive list of keywords that these pages are getting organic traffic for. And it delivers the exact match search counts from Google on each one of them. The list of tactics you can use with this tool are limited only by your imagination, but my favorite is to get a giant list of competitive URLs, pages and sites I want to demolish in the SERPs. Then I'll take these reports, I'll drop them into Excel, and I'll organize by phrases. Then I pick long tail keywords that cover not only those long tails, but also the shorter phrases. I feed it into Press Advantage for a press release strategy and dominate the competition. You all know what a retargeting pixel is and why they're important. But if you don't know, a retargeting pixel is a little bit of code that you put on a web page that lets advertising platforms like Facebook and AdWords know that someone visited your page. It's great because they let you put targeted paid advertising messages right in front of people that have already heard of you. And if you've ever gone shopping for something on Amazon and then you notice ads for those items following you around the web for the next couple of weeks, that's retargeting. So getting customers pixeled is the holy grail of paid advertising. Cost per click drops from dollars to pennies, conversion rates skyrocket, and your cost per sale or lead goes way down. And that's the power of retargeting, and just about everyone who does any significant amount of paid advertising uses it. We not only put your pixel or your client's pixel on your media room on releases on pressadvantage.com, but on every single press release on the wire. These pixels go out on the distribution wire, and when folks read your release, they get pixeled for retargeting. The power of getting hundreds of release pickups, all with your retargeting pixels out there where customers will find them, it should be pretty obvious. Now, in our last call, we talked about Press Advantage 2.0, some of the things that we were going to be working on. So I just wanted to talk about how that turned out. So the first one that we had promised was overhauled distribution. We were going to be adding some new networks like AT&T and some other big players. That has gone live. We have added some huge networks. AT&T, again, is one of them. We have our press releases going out on 500,000 different blogs through a headline ticker, for example, and we're seeing almost 4,000 human unique visits to press releases through that ticker network alone. And I could spend a half an hour talking about the different networks that we've added. Now, we didn't hit everything we wanted to. We continue, and we've literally been working on this for 18 months. We continue to work with folks like CenturyLink and some of these other internet service providers and broadband providers and some of the other wireless carriers past AT&T to provide our press releases to their customers. And while we are in agreement, the implementation has not happened yet. So that's why I put a mostly there. We've done a lot of great stuff with our distribution. We've added some really cool sites that have really moved the needle for people, but we didn't hit everything we wanted to hit. And so I can't just say unqualified yes. The client-friendly reporting is out. API access is out. Video and map embeds were added. The PR boost laser targeting, it was out. I turned that off though, because I was not seeing the results that I wanted people to get. It wasn't worth your money. And so, it's something that we tested and we rolled it out, and we saw some great results, but it wasn't consistent enough for me to want to offer it. So we're overhauling it and it'll be back, but I'm not going to sell you something that's not going to give you results, period. And if that means I take a feature off the site, then I take a feature off the site. The other thing that I promised was AP Newswire distribution, and we got that. And then, like I said before, we've added Apple News, we've added the voice assistants, and a lot of that kind of invisible distribution that you can't see in a search result. Now, as far as non-Press Advantage 2.0 features, stuff that we've added, again, we've added a new distribution network that gives us a little bit more of an international footprint. We've had a lot of folks asking about international pickups, and so as a site that or as some networks that I hadn't really wanted to go with yet because there was no demand for my customers, but enough of a demand has built up that it was a no-brainer to add. Like I said, everything now goes to all the voice assistant platforms. We have secret iframe embeds, and I can't tell you a whole lot about this other than the fact that I listened to Marco and listened to him tell me just how powerful it is to use iframes in certain ways, and I have come to agreements with some of our networks to carry certain iframe embeds out that will do nothing but benefit you. And I can't go into it, I'm contractually prohibited, but they're out there. The other thing that we've added, and this is by request, is full JSON LD support. So you can add your JSON LD local business snippet to any client, and it not only goes live on your media room and your releases on our site, but it also goes out on the wire for every press release. A couple of you have asked us to extend our revision window. So previously, after a release was delivered to you, you had 3 days, I think it was, to review it and let us know if you needed us to make any changes. Some of you have a workflow that where you need to take that to your client, and some of those clients are a little slow. And so we've extended that revision window. And so you have a bit more time now to request changes. Now, obviously, you can always make changes on your own, but this is the window where you can request a rewrite from our authors. Then we've added standing instructions for all of our writers. And so what this does is lets you set up certain boilerplate instructions that are included in every release order. So if you have certain things that you always want to make sure that are done in a certain way, you can set this on your organization page. So it's a per client basis, and then those instructions get added to every single order. This is great for folks that are doing kind of the same thing over and over again. And then, like I pointed out, we're doing a full map embed on all of the PR and organization pages that we host on our site. So what's next? We are doing a complete overhaul of our premium distribution. Right now, our premium distribution hits a few major sites. It goes out to Yahoo Finance, it hits Reuters, it hits NASDAQ, it hits kind of some of those big names. But I've literally for 2 years been working on a contract with some very, very big players. And we finally, 3 months ago, got to some agreement on pricing and what that would look like. And now we're working on the technical side of things. This will add 700 sites to our premium distribution, and it's going to cost. I don't have a rock solid price yet. I'm going to ballpark it at maybe $150 a release. It'll be something that you upgrade to. So it won't be something that that you're going to have to pay for every release. You can pick and choose what releases you'll send out to our premium network. But you can see the names here: USA Today, Wall Street Journal, Los Angeles Times, Bloomberg. The list goes on and on. If I could sit here and fill up 3 slides with names that you would recognize just off the top of your head. So the next thing is scheduled recurring releases. One of the common requests, and Bradley has asked for this several times, is that we allow you to set up a schedule. So you say, my client, I want to send out 2 press releases a month. So I want every 15 days, I want to order a new press release. Right now, you have to go into the platform to do that. So what we're adding is a feature to, for you to be able to set a specific type of order. You can give us a bunch of different keywords and URLs, and we'll kind of randomly pick them. And you can schedule this so that every time it goes out on clockwork, every 30 days, every 15 days, whatever it is that you want to set. And what this does is that this makes the system more hands-free for you. You're going to be sending releases for this client. You don't need to babysit it every time. So this is a huge thing. I really wanted to have it done for the webinar today, but I just needed a few more days of testing. So this will be ready for launch next month. Now, the next thing is, we talked a little bit about going through our network and making sure that it's always optimized. And we do this on a regular basis, but it's time to do it again. So we're looking at some of our networks that we're not happy with their performance. Maybe their reporting is slow, their pickup times are slow, so on and so forth. We're trying to fix that. So we are working on replacing some of them, getting a little bit more cranky with some of them, and then bringing some new smaller ones on board to replace the underperforming ones. Another thing that I've noticed is that our ordering process can be a little bit clunky at times, and so I'm working on ways of streamlining it and making it more clear. Hand in hand with that, we've worked on some technology that lets us put little screen share style videos right in the app, right where you need it. So, for example, if you didn't understand how to find your GMB map URL, you could click this button and it would pop up a little support video. Or if you needed to know how to fill out a certain release form or something like that, you can click a button and we'll show you in the app how to do it. It's pretty neat. It's something we've been working on with a partner for a while, and I'm really excited because it should help everybody get through the day a lot faster and run into far fewer platform oriented problems. Then the last thing that I'm working on is training videos that talk about what's working now and kind of keeping these up to date with strategies. I do find when I talk to customers, a lot of the time I'm repeating the same stuff. I'm talking about the same strategies over and over again. And so I want to have that available to you on demand and then kind of keep it updated as things change. And so that's the next thing that we're going to be working on. And I think we may have lost Bradley, but oh, well.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, you're still there? All right.
Yes, sir.
I didn't see you on the list there. So, like I said, I'm not a big sales guy. I'm not going to wow you with a fancy pitch, expensive cars, giant houses, that type of thing. We'll leave that to the gurus. You're a smart marketer. You understand the value of press releases for everything you do on the internet, from getting your own services ranked to getting client rankings for tough local keywords, map pack, and everywhere they need to be. And you may have already been getting results through our press releases through the Semantic Mastery Marketplace, but you've definitely been missing out on all of the other benefits of our service that you can't get through a reseller. And there's a couple other things that Bradley talked me into that we'll go over in a minute. Over the years, I've found that a great place to get started with results for a client is that 3 press release stack, and I want you to try us today. So to get 3 press releases researched, written, distributed from one of those big highway robbery guys is at minimum $2,400. Our regular retail price for 3 press releases is $7.99, and just last week I sold that exact package to a new customer at a discount for $5.99, and he pulled out his credit card in about 30 seconds. But Bradley wanted a great deal for you. He wanted to add in even more value than you get from Press Advantage alone. So we, came up with these 4 bonuses that, we're giving to Semantic Mastery customers. So 3 press releases, retail value is normally $7.99. That first bonus is an automation tool that we sell access to for $600. Second bonus is a training that we don't sell anywhere, but when we did, it was flying out the door at $197. Third bonus is another training video that helps agencies get clients. Actually, it's not a training video, it's a training letter. It's a turnkey solution. We sell it for $97. And the last bonus that we'll throw in is a cheat sheet for idea brainstorming that if we price it at $37. So if you came in off the street to buy all of this, your retail price would be $1,727. Now, the fun part is you're not going to pay $1,727, and that should have been obvious to you. All of those bonuses we're going to throw in for free, and we're going to cut our margin on the releases in a big way. And you're not going to pay $7.99. You're only going to pay $347. 3 press releases completely done for you, start to finish, $347 a month. That's about 80% off of your regular retail price. So to recap, 3 completely done for you press releases worth $7.99. for $347 a month, almost 80% off. That's $115 a release for the exact same release that the local PR Pro class tells you to teach your sell your clients for $300 a pop. Every release is expertly researched and written by experienced PR writers and edited to perfection by professional editors. We then handle all of the submission and syndication of the release for you and generate dynamic syndication reports for you. We'll even email you whenever we find new pickups. Our proprietary SEO secret weapon will build backlinks to your releases all on autopilot. And not only is your pricing locked in, if you don't use all of your credits in a month, it rolls over for as long as you have an active subscription with us. So that first bonus is that research keyword spy tool, something we normally sell as an add-on for $597. It's yours for free. This tool, like I said, has been in constant development and updates for years, and it lets you spy on your competitor traffic, finding those sweet long-tail keywords that bring in the cash for your clients. Now, the second one, my business partner, Bobby, is one of the best copywriters out there. He put together a training on using press releases to connect with local press, crafting headlines and cheat sheets for powerful press releases. We don't sell it anymore. When you could buy this, it costs you $197, but today, again, it's free. The third bonus is a game changer if you're having troubles getting local clients. Bobby took up the time to write a complete system, including a fill-in-the-blank sales letter for reaching out to local clients. This copy converts, and it converts like crazy. At a retail price of $97, it's a must-have, and as a free bonus, it's icing on the cake. And like I said before, the common problem that we hear from a lot of our customers is it's hard to come up with ideas for press releases, and nothing that they had was newsworthy. So I knew that you could write a press release on a huge variety of topics, but we didn't have that cheat sheet for our customers. So Bobby put one together. It's a special guide to help with brainstorming. Over 100 reasons why you could issue a press release for you, for a client. You'll never be stuck on what to write about. And I'm kind of half serious when I say that if you can't find a reason to send out a release after reading this list, you probably shouldn't be in business, because there's not a whole lot going on. And then the last bonus that we're throwing in is not one we really offer to anybody, but it's a call with me. We'll sit down, we'll spend some time together, we'll talk about what you're trying to do, and I'll give you some strategies that are custom tailored to you, and how you should use your press releases, because at the end of the day, I want you to be successful. And if that means that we hop on the phone and talk for a bit, then we hop on the phone and we talk for a bit. So again, 3 press releases done for you: the reverse research keyword spy tool, the press release print shop, the bulletproof local news system, 107 reasons to issue a press release, and the one-on-one strategy call for $397 a month. Now, our guarantee is something that, well, frankly, is unique in the industry. We don't have just a 30-day money-back guarantee. We have a rolling 30-day money-back guarantee. That means that if you've been with us for 3 months or 3 years, that last month you decide that you're unhappy and you want your subscription payment back, we will always give you a refund of your last subscription payment, period. No questions asked. It's just non-negotiable. This is something that nobody else offers. Now, before you jump on that offer, and those of you who are on the last webinar, you know what I'm about to talk about, because we had that smoking deal, and it was a deal that I wasn't ever going to offer again, but Bradley changed my mind. Last time we offered it because we were trying to hit some distribution targets, and we hit them, and we're pretty happy about that. And frankly, we're getting close to another one. So I need more volume. Instead of people sending out 3 releases a month, I really need people sending out 10, 20, and even 30 press releases a month. And I didn't tell Bobby about bringing this back, but I'm sure he won't mind. He didn't yell at me too much about the offer last time. So today only, before you get started with all of this, I'm making this second offer to you and the other buyers from the webinar, and it's right now, take it or leave it. We're not going to offer it to anyone on our list, let alone the general public. It'll never be posted on our website, and we won't sell it to you anywhere besides right here. And you'll see why in a second. It's not for everyone, but for the people that can take advantage of it, it's a no-brainer. So here's the background. The press release business is a volume-driven business. The more press releases we distribute every month through Press Advantage, the better a price per release we get to negotiate with our upstream networks. We hit a pretty decent volume discount point after our last webinar because we got a fantastic response from you guys. but we really need a few hundred more releases a month to get to that really big discount. Having that extra volume will help drive the cost down for our new premium offering as well, since we're able to bring more releases to the table. And it also gets us a better chance at negotiating direct deals with even more respected news providers who wouldn't want to talk to some of the small fry in the industry. And I might even get a discount with AT&T. I get excited about big goals. I love them. So in order to hit that goal faster, we're going to do this nutty thing one more time. Today only, you get an unlimited press release plan for a price that's way better for you than it is for me. $4.97 a month, flat fee for unlimited standard distribution forever. Submit as many press releases as you can every month all year round, one set price a month. Believe it or not, it comes with more free stuff. We're throwing in 6 free writing credits each and every month. Makes it dead simple to get your money's worth, because at minimum, you just send us 6 keywords a month and a professional writer will write and distribute 6 releases from start to finish for you, which by itself is worth a subscription. $4.97 is a far better price than we would normally offer for 6 releases, even if you never use the unlimited part. But I imagine this being something where you submit releases all the time and milk the opportunity for all it's worth, which is the point of it. I want you sending out 20 releases a month, 30 releases a month. You keep the subscription as long as you like, and I promise to continue honoring the deal as long as you don't cancel. If you cancel, it's gone forever, even for our best buddies. The offer is only available right now. We only need a few people for it, and frankly, I need to limit my exposure in case, people go a little hog wild. You might be thinking, this sounds good, too good. What's the catch? How does it compare to the regular subscription? Well, normally we charge $7.99 for 3 releases, fully written and distributed. Totally worth it at that price. Our clients love it because the writing and distribution is excellent. In fact, the competition charges almost twice that price for similar distribution without the writing. You can use your unlimited press releases for anything related to your business. You can't resell them on a marketplace, but if you're an agency, you can use them all day long for your clients. But that's not even close to the unheard of value that you can lock in right now. The plan comes with 6 written for you releases every month, plus unlimited do-it-yourself distributions. The written for yous are a great bonus, but no matter how you slice it, unlimited distribution is simply not offered by anybody else, period. And like I said, I promised myself we'd never run this offer again. In fact, one of my competitors, who Bradley would certainly recognize if I named names, called me a few months ago and told me I was crazy that I ran this offer to begin with. And here I go again. Because our standard releases, it costs us money to submit. We can gamble on a few accounts because we got to hit those volume points. But that's also why this unlimited account is really so powerful. It opens up the door to bulk strategies that could never be cost effective otherwise. I started dreaming up possibilities, and over the last few days, you just get more and more ideas. Most long tail keywords don't drive enough traffic on their own to justify spending a couple $100 on a press release. It's just not cost effective unless you have a giant budget. But this plan changes it all. Now, quick story, and again, if you were on the last webinar, you heard this story because I love it. Back in the day, when GoToWebinar was first getting started, they offered plans way cheaper than they do today. I think it's $99 a month, maybe a little bit less. In 2010, they jacked up their prices and placed limits on how many people you could have for a given price. So what happened next? Well, people started hoarding these grandfathered plans and sold them to their friends. If you canceled, you could never get that old price back. It was stupid, but we even tried to buy one from a friend who wouldn't sell it. But I don't want these unlimited accounts getting sold, but this could be similar. We won't offer them again. They're going to be valuable forever. And so don't regret once the offer's gone. So you'll get 6 writing credits each and every month, unlimited standard distribution, the research tool, my personal secrets in the press release print shop, your own account manager to make sure that you drive a ton of traffic, all for the low price of $4.97 a month. Cancel anytime, no strings attached. This offer expires after the webinar, and we're not going to offer it again unless, well, I guess I said that last time too, but Bradley convinced me. In any case.
So basically, don't try to convince you again, right?
Yeah, don't try and convince me again. At some point, I got to keep saying no.
Now, do you want to mention about, because obviously the write it yourself press releases, people can buy the writing services once they've used the 6 done for you, correct?
Yes, they can, and that's actually a trick I know you've been teaching people, is that by using the unlimited distribution, you can always buy a writing credit along with that release. So basically, you get that distribution for free. and then you just pay $50 to have us write it. And so you're getting a $50 press release,
That's right.
Day in and day out, and you don't have to touch it. And so that's, it's definitely, I hate to use the term, business hack, but that's kind of what it is. I mean, it's a way to kind of cheat the system, so to speak.
So to be clear, guys, you get 6 done for your press releases for $4.97 a month. And then every press release thereafter, if you have Press Advantage Write It, which is what we've been suggesting, because their writers will write so that it's approved. It doesn't have to go through the editorial process that it would if you submitted them yourself. And like I said before, even if you find a decent, not even a good or great, but just a decent PR writer on like Upwork, for example, you're going to pay $50-$60 minimum for a 400 word press release, which sucks. I mean, they're not that good. And so again, $50 and you get the 650 to 750 word press releases directly from his team of writers, which will get approved quickly, obviously. And they just work really well.
Yep. So some folks have asked if they can really use these releases for anything. We see all the releases that go through this system. It's a pretty open environment. We want you to be successful. We're totally supportive of you serving your clients, and agencies are frankly our best customers. And our only real goal is to make sure that you're not launching your own press release business using this unlimited plan. And if we ever have any concerns about how you're using it, we'll let you know. But it's kind of a two-way street. So definitely use the heck out of it. That's what it's there for, because I need that volume. So here's the recap, the 2 offers that are on the table. Again, that's 3 press releases for $347 a month, or you get the 6 press releases with unlimited, self-written press releases for $497 a month. And, that's kind of that one-time offer. The $347 a month offer, that'll be open for quite a while. So I know there are a bunch of questions. I'm going to scroll back up here in the chat, and I'm going to start answering them, and we'll go from there.
Right. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of questions, actually, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Let's see. The first one that I can see is one from we had this stupid chat app that we did not require people to register. So the first question is, how can we purpose the PRs by changing the titles, cities, and company names without you flagging them as boilerplate type PRs, or so will you publish them? And
yeah, so that's kind of goes back to what I was pointing out in the common mistake area is a lot of folks that are submitting their own press releases. Usually we find this when it's a VA writing it or something like that. They kind of cheat a little, and they reuse a lot of content. You can reuse some content. We obviously don't go through it with a fine-tooth comb or anything like that. But the editors will certainly flag if it's, if you send the same release in with just a few changes, one right after another, that's going to flag the system. If you send out a similar release, a month after you send out the first one, we're not gonna ding you on that. We just today, for example, sent out multiple releases for an unlimited customer that their headlines were very similar. The only real major thing they changed in the headline was the location and the geographical area involved, and maybe the company name. What we're really wanting to avoid is that spammy feel. It's very important to us and for the results that you get, that we avoid any type of reputation as a spammy content provider. And it's one of the reasons why I can get such great deals from our networks, is because they know that we're providing high quality content. And so for that, for those self-written customers, we certainly kind of have to eyeball that a little bit more. And if there's any questions on how to kind of pass the bar, so to speak, send an email to support. They're more than happy to help walk you through what you need to do. Let's see. Someone asks, curious to know your data for how many of these posts of each press releases are getting indexed. We don't see a lot of issues with Google calling it duplicate content. They will very rarely rank the same press release on multiple sites. When they do, it's typically a site it'll be either on our website or maybe your blog website if you're reposting the press releases, and then it'll be one of the news pickups. If we look into the index, it'll vary how many of them get indexed, but we don't see any duplicate content penalties or anything like that. How to write press releases for reviews. This would be really short. What do we talk about to fill out the content? Yeah, so what our writers will do is, if the review itself is short, they will go and they'll figure out what else is going on in that business or what else is going on in that space, and they will fill out the, they just kind of fill out the content with stuff that's relevant to make sure that they hit those right content lengths. I'm in the UK. I know that press releases work, but do you suggest doing anything differently? No. For both the UK and Canada, we are seeing press releases work the same way. Back to the Press Advantage 2.0 update, we are still working on adding kind of some high quality European distribution that should help with the UK even more. Serious, we said PR through MGYB. Yes, we do all of the writing for the press releases that come to us through MGYB. Okay, it's a no-brainer. Difference between the MGYB service and a subscription besides price. With a subscription, you get hands-on control over everything. You get all of the kind of those advanced tools. You get access to all of those bonuses, of course, and a lot of the features that we are adding are not really going to be things that are available with MGYB. So, for example, I don't know if you can upgrade to the premium network, which is going to be a huge thing. You certainly won't be able to do the the PR scheduling, for example. All of these things that we're adding to make your life easier on a recurring basis is stuff that's going to be tough to get through MGYB. Now, don't get me wrong. I love MGYB. They're a great source, and we support people who kind of go to a subscription, and then maybe they need to tail off for a little bit and come back, and we're very supportive of that. And we're happy to move organization pages around when if you want to try MGYB first and kind of dip your toes in, and then when you're ready to go, you can we'll move your organizations around for you. I don't know, Bradley, did you have anything to add to that?
I'm logged in from my phone, and
I guess that answers that. The power must have gone out. So I'm going to move on. Can press releases be used to help rank service-based videos in multiple cities? Yes, absolutely. And your strategy doesn't change up a whole lot there, other than you're probably going to want to use a different organization per location. That way all of your citations are correct. Great service, been using it for 4 months. With the press release writing credits, do we get to review and approve the PR before it's distributed? Yes. So how it works is you take about 15 minutes or so to fill out the form. And then what happens is it goes to our editors. The editorial staff will review the instructions that you've provided. If there's anything confusing or unclear, or if you're asking us to write about a questionable topic or something that we're limited on distribution by, or anything like that, we'll come back to you and we'll let you know what the issues are. We'll get clarification, clean it up if we need to, and make sure everything's perfect. And then it goes off to the authors or to the writers. And the writers typically take 3 to 5 business days to turn it around. Typically 3 days, sometimes 5. Our last webinar that we did with Bradley and company, the response was so big that our backlog grew to about 2 weeks, which was terrible. And I spent a month scrambling to get new writers on board to, absorb that hit. But typically we target 3 to 5 business days. And then it comes back to our editors, and they'll do a quick pass, and then they'll send that back to you once all the, grammar's correct and spelling's right and all that stuff. Then when it comes back to you, you have 3 options. You can send it out to the wire immediately. If everything's great, then you click a button, in 15 minutes it's out on the newswire. Maybe you want to make a few changes yourself. You want to add some additional embeds. You want to change a link around. You want to tweak a quote a little bit. You can do that. That goes back through editorial, because we have to just make sure that nothing changed that's going to get us in trouble with our upstream networks. And then, by the end of that business day, that will go out on the wire. My editors, they sometimes stay late at night just to make sure that everybody that's waiting to go out on the wire that day, is able to go out. Then the third option is maybe, the writers really missed something. They blew some key part of your instructions or something like that. You can send it back to the writers with feedback. They can then make those revisions, and then it'll come through that whole cycle again. And we can keep doing that until you're perfectly happy. So I hope that answers your question. If you have any questions, let me know.
And I just want to jump in for a minute, because typically my process for my own agency is I have all of the PRs come back to for the review process, and then my VA, who does all the ordering for me, she'll go back in and just do a quick read, glance over, and if there's anything that she wants to make any changes to, then she makes some slight changes, and then we submit for editorial approval. So the whole process between the time that we get notified that the PR is ready and waiting for review until it gets published is usually no more than 3 days tops. And that's only usually, like he said, around a weekend time if it takes even that long.
So Bradley, I don't know if you caught earlier, there was a question about the difference between using MGYB and having a native Press Advantage subscription. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I've said this many times before on Hump Day Hangouts and other places. If you're running a serious digital marketing business, then you're going to want your own Press Advantage account. I highly recommend it because of the additional flexibility it gives you, the additional benefit of having all the organization pages that you get to edit and work on whenever you see fit. That's all the kind of stuff that you can't really get through buying done for you press releases from us at MGYB. It's the same distribution network. We'll still give you an organization page, but if you need to make edits and changes, you're going to have to pay us for support time to do that for you. And so again, and also you're paying more if you're just buying single one-off press releases. Now, guys, if you don't have a need, like if you're at a point in your business or too early on or something like that where you don't need that many press releases, then don't get a subscription. But I would recommend that any of you that are here watching this are at least planning on growing a business, and you will probably need them. So I would recommend that you had your own subscription.
All right, let's see. Are health and beauty products, weight loss still on your ban list? So they're not on our ban list. We have some real creative ways where we can get around some of the limitations that we get from our networks. And so if you are wanting to get into some of these topics that are marginal, we've got our ways. We can help you with wordsmithing and things like that, because at the end of the day, it's about the links, and it's about being able to get good links back in. And so even if we're writing press releases that don't touch completely on the intricate details of your beauty product, for example, we can get around it. We can talk about reviews, we can talk about quotes. We have to be very careful, obviously, with claims and things like that, but if you're in that space, you're already familiar with it. We can even run run releases for CBD products and medical marijuana and things like that are marginal, and a lot of press release agencies won't touch it. And we have multiple customers that are running releases in kind of those areas. The other question is adding distribution in Australia. We do plan on working on some Australian distribution the same way we're working on some additional European distribution. I can't give any kind of timeline on that at all. We're kind of at the whims of some other parties when it comes to that.
Let me jump on a couple of these real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure.
All right, so one I see and I think you already answered this right when I was logging back in. Can press releases be used to rank service-based videos in multiple cities? Yeah, and one of the things that I would recommend for that is use the embed feature as well as link building directly from the PR, not both in the same PR. What I'm saying is use multiple press releases. In some press releases, embed the video that you're trying to embed or you're trying to rank. In other press releases, you would link to the video, but also don't forget to use playlists. We talk about YouTube Silo Academy. If you don't have that, go pick it up. It's $7. It's an old course, but the principles are still the same. Go look up YouTube Silo Academy. You'll find it. And use the playlist as silos, and then link to your playlist URLs, because that's very, very powerful as well. So I would highly recommend you do that. And press releases are a great way to help rank those. The next one I see, and Jeremy, I'll let you talk about this also, but Austin Dawn says, have you had success with real estate niche with these? I just recently started a real estate flipping business in flipping vacant land. and I'm using the only two things I have done besides paid traffic so far is our Press Advantage press releases. I've only published 3 of them, and an RYS drive stack, and I'm already ranking on page 1 for my chosen keywords for the state of Virginia. So I'm getting leads, no shit, from Google every single day, or not every day, but I'm getting 4 to 5 leads per week from Google, some from Google Ads, but some are from Google search. And my business is less than 2 months old. So I absolutely for sure know that it works for the flipping business. As far as for realtors and things like that, it can, but it's going to require volume, because you're usually fighting with very, very high authoritative sites when it comes to the real estate industry, for like realtors and such. What say you?
Yeah, let me talk about the real estate a bit. We have a number of folks in real estate that are getting some really great results. And what they're doing, and this kind of holds true for other service industries like doctors and lawyers and kind of anything where it's a very name-oriented type of thing. It's a mix between a branding strategy and a content strategy, because as you know, in the real estate business, you got to get your name out there, you got to get your face out there, and so what we see people talking about their market updates, and if they have a specific niche. Like there's one customer in particular that I'm thinking of that focuses on military relocations, and so there's always more information about military relocations, and so a lot of that content. But then we'll also see people sending out press releases for individual house listings that are above a certain dollar amount and things like that. And really what that is it's a volume play, because you're really trying to get that credibility up. And like you said, it's a competitive environment, and so like we'll see for lawyers, for example, we'll see them sending out press releases about individual cases and things like that. And sometimes you have to make sure that you're not saying something that you're not allowed to, but by and large, we've seen some really great results. Same with the different medical fields, whether it's chiropractors or holistic doctors and things like that. We see some really great results in the local search results for those specific keywords. If you were just going to be targeting like a generic medical practice, that'd be more difficult. But those niche-based professionals, you can do really well with press releases.
Yeah, and Austin Dawn followed up with that. That's what I would need for it. All my clients are flippers. Yeah, I think it's a great strategy. I'm seeing really good results already. With just like I said, all I had was a drive stack done, and a couple, 3 press releases is all I published, and that's on me because I haven't been ordering them. I've been so busy.
Yeah, well, next month you'll be able to take care of that, through the automation that we're adding. So you'll be in good shape there.
It works really good. I see another one. Danny V's asking about what is the order process when placing our PR order through Press Advantage. I'm going to grab the screen for just a quick moment and show the dashboard. Is that all right with you, Jeremy?
Yeah, or if you want, I can just walk through it too.
Okay, sure, please.
I do that on sales calls all the time. So let's see here. Let me pull up one of my demo accounts here. All righty, now reshare. Boy, they don't make it easy to switch what you're sharing.
Apparently, they're going to be killing Hangouts on Air sometime this year, so we'll have to switch to something else.
All right. Okay, so this is the dashboard. You see this page when you log in. Ordering a press release. Well, actually, let's just kind of go through the whole demo here, and everybody will be able to kind of see how it works. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set up your brand, your client, your customer, whoever it is. This is what sets up the details for your media room. Again, every client gets its own organization. If you have multiple locations, you want each one to have its own organization because the citation is going to be different for each one. If we look at one of these, we can see what they look like. Obviously, we've already kind of seen this. These are all tests, by the way. So it has all the different content in there. We set that up. Once we add a new one, we just fill out the form here. Gets all the contact information, the about blurb, the address, all of that stuff is what populates over here. We'll give you your different social handles, your website, your map embed URL. This is where you decide to embed that iframe that we talked about earlier or not. You can show or hide that organization on Press Advantage. So maybe, you don't have that client anymore and they want you to take their stuff down. You can very easily change that. There's a spot we talked about, the JSON LD schema. We would put that in here, and then here's where you put your standardized release instructions that shows up on all of your orders. And then finally you have a logo. So, and again, we saw what that looks like. The other thing that you can add here on the account tab is your retargeting pixels. These are not per customer, they are global to your account, and you choose on a per release basis which retargeting pixel you do. The reason why we've built it this way is because we have a lot of customers that will use the same, they manage the ad campaigns for their different clients, and they use the same pixel for that. And so, we kind of give ultimate flexibility here instead of tying it to a specific organization. So ordering a press release, pretty simple. Like I said, it takes you about 10 minutes to do. You click the form, you pick which, who you're sending it out for. You put a description in here. In this description, this is what shows up. I'll show you here in this publish. It shows up right here in the interface. It's just something for you and me to know what that press release is about. And of course, your writing is included, so we encourage you to use our writing service. But if you wanted to, you can submit your own content here. And then you give us the, well, we'll talk about this here. Like I said before, our typical turnaround time is 3 to 5 business days. We do recommend that you leave yourself plenty of time because we do get spikes in usage sometimes, but 3 to 5 business days is our target. And, we'll talk about that process once we hit the submit button. This is our primary keyword. This is where we're gonna put in what we want to show up in the title of the release, and it kind of sets the stage for the whole release. We give you the ability to add automatically up to 3 links per press release. We limit it to 3 because we feel that more than that starts looking pretty spammy. But if you really want to, you can always go back and add more later. If you do not provide us anchor text, then we will put a naked link in instead. Here's where you give us the instructions, and you give us a little bit or you give us a lot. And like I said at the beginning of the call, we've got the reputation management guy who comes in for 5 minutes and spends no time at all giving us these these instructions. Write something nice about me. We have other customers who give us a ton of detail. They may put 2 pages of content in there and a link to a Google Doc that has more. And we can work with a little bit or a lot. It's just kind of up to you. Our writers are very creative at coming up with great content for you if you don't have a fantastic angle. Every press release has quotes in it. It's the professional thing to do. Most people just have us make up a quote that's based on what, the instructions that you've given us, the links that you've provided. Maybe we pull a quote out of a review or something like that. If you have specific quotes that you want us to use, you can certainly provide them to us here. Again, you can choose a retargeting pixel if you like. And right now, the Google Map embeds default to no. They will be switching to a yes default soon. But since it is a newer feature, I wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of it before I turned it on for as a new default. And then we also have a scheduling component to it. Most people don't use this; they just want it to go out when it's ready. But if you were doing a product launch or something like that, you can set a specific time for it to be distributed. So let's say I wanted this to go out on the on July 1, then I would submit this order now so that it's ready, and then we'll just sit on it once it's ready for distribution until it hits July 1st. But like I said, most people, they don't want to do that. They just want to do it as soon as possible. So once you hit submit, all of these instructions go to our editorial staff. They will review it. They'll read everything. They'll read the instructions. They'll check your quotes. They'll look at your links. They'll make sure that everything makes sense and you're not going after an angle that's going to get us or you in trouble. If there's any questions, if there's any contradictions or anything like that, then we will go back to you and we'll get clarification. Once everything's clarified, everything's straightforward, and most of the time it is, we don't have to go back to the customer all that often. It goes over to the writers. Like I said, the writers take 3 to 5 business days to review everything, to research, do the writing, get it all cleaned up, and send it back to the editors. The editors then go through it for grammar, for spelling, all that type of thing. And then we send it back to you as the customer. You now have 3 things that you can do. The first thing is you review it and everything looks great. You click a button, goes out on the wire in about 15 minutes. The other option is maybe you want to change a quote, you want to change the link, make a minor, change. Maybe you want to add a different image or something like that. You do that, you make those changes, it goes back through editorial. The reason why it has to go back through editorial is because you made a change and we have to make sure that that change is benign and isn't something that's going to get us all in trouble. Assuming that it's not something that's going to get us all in trouble, then that will go out by the end of the day. Like I said before, my editors stay until the review queue is done every business day. So they don't leave for the day unless the review queue is empty, because we want to make sure that anything that you've submitted that day goes out that same day. The third option, they need to go back to the writers. The writers missed a part of the instructions. They really screwed something up. There's a little form that you can fill out that lets you give the writers feedback, and it sends the release directly back to the writer. And then they will, act on that feedback, send it back through editorial. It comes back to you, and we can go through that loop as many times until you're perfectly happy. So that's kind of the nutshell. And, our different networks take different amounts of time to pick stuff up. My fastest network is usually about half an hour after you click submit, and my slowest one is about 3 days. So they just kind of come in as time goes by.
Okay, cool. I got another one here that says, if I am doing a one-off or limited number of press releases for a short-term client, can you recommend a way that I don't have to create a customer page on Press Advantage for doing a press release? And I would say, okay, go ahead.
Kind of have to. Well, I was just going to say, you really have to create a customer page of some sort, but you don't have to fill out a ton of information. You
Correct.
can literally just put the name in, and maybe the city and state or something like that. You don't have to put in a whole lot of detail. Well, if you're really trying to rank sites, then great. You want to do, you want to put in all the right details. But if you just want to get, some stuff out there as a one-off, or, maybe you're even, working on the, building press releases to parasites that aren't actually related to your business, you'd set up another organization for them and just give minimal information. I think the only thing we actually require and don't quote me on this because off the top of my head is the name. I think that's really the only thing that is absolutely a requirement.
Yeah, and remember, you can always hide the organization page for one-off, if after you've completed your project and they're no longer clients or whatever the case may be. As he said, there's that little checkbox that you can check to hide that organization page afterwards. So.
Yep.
Okay, I've answered a few via text. Another one was embedding a video. Anything special? We're just dropping the content with the embed code, and that's just placing the YouTube URL on its own line with a line break above and below, correct?
Yep, it's any YouTube or Vimeo video. You just like you said, you literally just drop it in there as the URL, and we'll automatically do the embed.
BBB says, would like to get some ideas on using PR for a company that is launching their franchise? In my opinion, that's a great excuse or reason to be publishing press releases, because you can publish a press release about the parent company launching their franchise. Then you can publish press releases about each new franchisee that's coming on board to give the overall brand press, as well as each new location, give them some initial press, right? So,
you'd actually for in that case, the parent company sends out a press release about the new franchisee, and then the franchisee sends out a press release that they are now a franchisee under their own organization, and then they start sending their own press releases out about their individual franchise.
That's it. So there's a lot of good strategies for that as well, guys. And as he said, one of the bonuses is the 107 reasons to write a press release or whatever, and that's a great great guide because it really will give you a ton of ideas that you probably never thought about. I mean, reviews is one of them. Anytime you hire a new employee or you land a new product or have a new product or service, or you win an award or donate to charity, or I mean, there's just a million reasons, or 107 at least, to be able to publish a press release. So, all right, guys. Well, look, we're at the 2-hour mark. I don't see a lot of new questions coming in. So, Jeremy, I think we can pretty much wrap it up. I'll drop the URLs in the chat box again. See, another one just popped up. It says, is it too spammy to use 3 links and also adding a link for the image?
Nope.
There you go. Question answered. So, okay, guys, if you have any other questions, post them now. Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up. I know there's a little bit of a lag. So do you have anything else you want to add, Jeremy? I know you've you said before we got on that you'd like to keep it under 2 hours, and here we are.
Well, I was just having flashbacks to the last marathon that we did last year, and that was a long one and wholly unexpected. And you know, I want to be sensitive to people's time. But like I said, I did block off the whole day for this. So if there's questions, I'm happy to stick around and answer them.
Okay. Let's see what else comes in. Otherwise, I'll check the YouTube page as well. No, we're good over there.
You're welcome, BBB.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks. All right. Yeah, it looks like we're done. So thanks everybody for being here. We appreciate it. Paul Fussell, he's a heavy user of it as well. He says, thanks for the new updates, Jeremy. Keep up the good work. So
Paul is one of those rare birds that actually has my cell phone number.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's great. All right. One more question came in, guys. I'm going to wrap it up after this. So Austin Dawn, you're the winner of the last question. He says, so I have a new national company that buys houses in every state and will have state pages and hundreds of city pages. So you could do PR for all of them over time. Yeah, you could. But what I would recommend, I mean, the way I would look at it is for each physical location, so to speak, if you have them, if you're trying to go like the maps route and registering physical locations, GMBs essentially, then you'd have a separate organization for each. As far as on a national company basis, if you were to just target like and really build up a brand, you don't have to do it on a local level. In other words, you don't have to do it on like a maps level, but you could start targeting, states and or cities. I would recommend cities within your PRs because you're going to get better traction that way than you would on just a state level, in my opinion. Do you have anything?
And there's no limit to the number of organizations you can have. So if you wanted to target the top 100 cities, with a GMB listing for each one of them, you could absolutely do that. And we can absolutely. And again, once we get this autopilot stuff going, where you can you just set it and forget it basically. And so, it's going to be a game changer for people that are doing a lot of, smaller sites, just like what, Austin's talking about with, all these different state pages and city pages. It's going to be a game changer for guys like him.
I totally agree. All right. So thanks a lot, Jeremy. We appreciate your time once again, as always.
Great deal, if there's any other questions, feel free to send them in to support@pressadvantage.com, and we'll be sure to get them answered. And if not, thank you to all of my existing customers who've joined us today. And for those of you who are becoming new customers, welcome. And we're happy to have you.
Yeah, and guys, like you said, that I had to kind of twist his arm to open up that deal again because he said he wouldn't do it after the last webinar, but it's been 8 months. So
yeah.
So I highly recommend you jump on it if you think that you're going to need them, even if not now, in the near future, which I would recommend that you use press releases as part of your overall strategy. We use it hands down all the time. That's one of my go-to strategies. So.
And again, I'm happy to, you get a call with me as part of it, and I want you to use your press releases, and because you benefit and I benefit. And what I don't want is I don't want you to sit and accumulate these press releases because they don't get used. And so if you can afford it, jump on it, and I'll make sure that you get great usage out of it.
Okay, thanks guys. All right, we'll see you later, Jeremy.
All right, bye-bye.